10. Carr jumps it in there. It's Waller. He spins into the end zone for the touchdown. Watching greatness on one end in LeBron. There's a dude with 35 in white getting it done defensively and then offense taking over the fight. Mama, there goes that man.
They have shared a brilliant championship battle, but the championship can only be won by one, and it's going Dutch in 2021. Max Verstappen, for the first time ever, is champion of the world.
Well, of course they do, because the Lions have actually put something together. I think if you put the Lions against the Cowboys are losing that game for sure by 20 points. That's just me.
Well, the way we've been playing, I kind of think that we might not actually win by 20 points. I think we're going to win by like 3 points.
It might be a little competitive, but
people will say, "Oh, that was a nasty game. That was a nasty game," because that's pretty much all we hear all season long is, "Oh, that was a close game, but that was pretty nasty. Like, we need to work on this and we need to work on that," which we do.
You know what? I'm going to do it on my fantasy football team. I think I'm going to try out Brock Purdy at quarterback. I'm going to see how he does.
And that's
what do I have to lose?
Hurt.
I've already got, and then he gets hurt. I mean, what do I got to lose? I've already got the playoffs locked in. So, but anyway, are you recording? Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's edition of the WaterBoy Experience. I am your host, the WaterBoy himself, Davis McLemore. And this week we got a lot of football to talk about. And we're going to try to get through all of it very briefly and very quickly. But here to help me do all that is my good friend, the CEO and CFO of Nye Productions, the Red Bull chugging son of a gun. Right now he's chugging a Michelob, and so am I, Mr. Jason Shaddix. How are you?
Well, I'm definitely doing better than Florida State University. And Toto Wolff.
Man, we've got to talk about both of those. Let's start with Florida State really quick. So me and you got into a pretty heated argument earlier today because
there is no argument. I'm right.
I don't think, I understand where everybody's coming from with this, but in my opinion, if you're looking at it, Florida State does not belong in there.
If you look at Alabama and the way they played this season, they don't belong there either.
Let me put it this way. While Florida State was struggling to beat Louisville, who is an unranked team, not a very good team. While Florida State was struggling to beat Louisville, Alabama was beating Georgia, the number one ranked team in the country.
It doesn't matter how you win. That's it.
Yeah, and Alabama won. Alabama beat the number one team in the country.
And then the number one team in the country.
You've got to put them in.
No, you got fucking
when you're
screwed.
going up against a team that is not even ranked, is not even competitive whatsoever, and you can barely squeeze out a win against them versus this team put on a great performance and beat the number one team in the country, which team are you going to put in? I thought Georgia still belonged in there, and I thought it would be really good if you had number one Michigan, number two Texas, number 3 Alabama, number 4 Georgia.
No. I disagree. Again, look, Florida, I don't care what people say. Florida went undefeated. They play football for the NCAA. They went undefeated. It doesn't matter who their opponent was. They could have been fighting the hardest hitting teams in the college football history, and they could beat them all. Or they could be fighting nobodies and win it all. It doesn't matter. They still went undefeated. And to just exclude them from the playoffs when Alabama, who should not have even been allowed to play Georgia, was allowed to come back after it was taken out.
Yeah, they were allowed to play Georgia because of the SEC championship game.
Fuck the championship. This is bullshit.
And and now we're not playing. This is for the national championship game.
Exactly. Now it's for the big leagues. And Florida State should have been given the opportunity, because what you're saying is, it doesn't matter if you do everything right at the end of the day, unless you're not Alabama or one of the big colleges. Fuck you. And that is
fuck you.
No, that is fucking wrong. Because look, this is like
your football team sucks.
This is the Vince McMahon way of thinking. This is when he didn't want to push Daniel Bryan.
So what if you're the ACC champion? The ACC sucks as a division.
They still won. They went undefeated.
Against the ACC.
And Alabama lost to Texas A&M.
That's like saying I beat the fuck out of a cripple kid. I must be good at fucking basketball.
Yeah, you just said it. Alabama beat up the cripple kid.
No, Alabama didn't beat up the cripple kid.
No, I mean
Alabama beat up
the cripple kid beat up Alabama.
The cripple kid beat up Alabama, but now the cripple kid is the number 2 team in the country. And they're undefeated. I believe they're they've got to be undefeated. They're undefeated.
Everybody else was undefeated except for Alabama, and then they beat Georgia, and Florida State is still undefeated, and they got fucking screwed over.
Okay.
No, look.
So look, hold on.
Oh, God damn it, you shut the fuck up.
No, listen. I'm telling you, what would be your ideal rankings for the NCAA tournament?
Whoever has the best score at the end, whoever has the most win.
Give me teams. Who belongs in there? Does Michigan belong in there?
Well, Michigan should have been excluded for cheating.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get that out of the way. I think Michigan should have been kicked out. Yeah. But then that would have given enough room for Florida State.
Ohio should have been kicked out because they lost to Michigan.
Ohio is kicked out. Ohio State is kicked out.
No, wasn't it that they weren't kicked out and then they were? Or like...
Last time we talked about it, it was before that game.
That's right.
But yeah, they're out.
They're out.
It's number 1 Michigan, number 2 Washington, number 3 Texas, number 4 Alabama. Or no. Washington and Michigan are swapped around.
Yeah, one of those.
Or no, Washington and Texas are swapped around. Michigan, Texas, Washington, Bama. So where do you think Florida State should have been in all that?
They should have been at number 5 as the underdogs.
Number 4.
Well, number 4. Take Alabama out. You lost in the regular season. Well, that's it. You lost in the regular season. Georgia went undefeated until the championship game.
So you think Georgia should be out? Definitely.
They lost, and neither Georgia nor Alabama should have gone into the finals. Alabama, if they won, well, you lost the regular season, so you were disqualified because Florida State went undefeated. And then Georgia lost their game. So
let me give you this theoretical. If the committee decided to disqualify Michigan for the cheating scandal, and we were left with Texas and Washington just in there, what would your other 2 teams be? Would you then put Alabama in there?
I would put Georgia in there first.
You would put Georgia in there first?
Just because they went undefeated during the regular season.
But they lost the championship game.
They did, but they still went undefeated in the regular season.
But they lost.
Fine, put Alabama.
Championship game still counts.
Well, then fine, put Alabama in there. I'd put them dead last.
Yeah, they could be dead last. They would be the 1-win team.
Exactly.
Or the 1-loss team.
But Florida State could have been like in the NFL, that wild card team that nobody thinks they're going to make it, but they made it. It's kind of like, what year was it when Burrow went to the Super Bowl? Weren't they like a wild card team?
No, but they were the 4th seed.
Nobody thought they would go.
You might be thinking of Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the year they won.
Yeah,
they
that's
were in
true.
the wild card. Yeah,
but it's still nobody thought that Cincinnati was going to go to the Super Bowl.
No, nobody did.
Exactly.
Well, luckily for you, next year it looks like they're going to go to a 6-team playoff.
Yeah, but they're still going to find a way to screw people over.
I don't think there's 6 teams in NCAA you could screw over that don't deserve to be screwed over. But if we would have had the
Florida State University,
if we would have had the 6-team playoff this year, it would have been the same top 4: Michigan, Texas, Washington, and Alabama, and then Florida State would have got in, and then Ohio State would have got in.
I still think they should have been like, fuck it, Georgia. We need an extra team. You're good enough. You have history. You're going to go against Alabama again. You can't tell me this isn't blatant corruption.
Oh, no, it's not fair. And that's why I still think that they should go to not just a 6-team, but an 8-team playoff, because then you kind of calm these sorts of situations down where it's not as big as it has blown up to be. But people have to realize that you're trying to select the 4 best teams in college football. Florida State has nobody else to be mad at. They can't be mad at the committee. They should be mad at Texas Christian University. Yeah, TCU. Last year, Georgia whooped them. And everybody said instantly, oh, they never belonged in the college football playoff. But they went undefeated during the regular season.
Yeah, and they deserve the spot. Just because you lose does not mean, okay, anybody else who does that should be automatically disqualified.
Okay, but if there's a one-win team that is actually better, then...
But tell me this. If last year, TSU, whatever the fuck it's called. TCU. If they would have just beaten the dog shit out of Alabama, like a complete underdog story, what would they have been saying about that team?
They belong.
Exactly.
And they would. If they beat the shit out of Alabama, they would belong.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You got to give them the chance because this is exactly like NASCAR was a few years ago. I don't even fucking watch enough NASCAR to know if it's still the same. But back then, you could lose every fucking race in the regular season. But when you got to the playoffs, you just needed a win or two. And then you won the world championship. Everything else didn't matter. And people were like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm going to stop watching NASCAR. And look at their viewership. It's dropping every year consistently.
And guess what college football is doing? Dropping every year consistently.
Honestly, if I was Florida State University, I would have just say, you know what? We're dropping our football program. It's expensive as fuck. And there's no reward for doing a good job.
There's not.
And I think a lot of colleges should do that.
They get to play a bowl game. It's not the national championship. It's not the Cotton Bowl. It's not the Rose Bowl. But they get to play a bowl game. It's like the All-State or Tostitos or Nationwide Bowl.
Oh, they got bowl games.
One of the stupid sponsor bowls, you know.
Yeah, there's bowl games everywhere. You can't.
There's
even keep
bowls
track.
everywhere. I think even our very own University of Southern Mississippi is playing some kind of bowl game. I don't know. I'm not sure. But basically, the College Football Playoff Committee is
full of corrupt, ignorant bastards. Yes.
I will admit this. It's full of a lot of people that don't really understand football.
Football?
Football.
You said football.
Football.
Well, to them, it is football. Is it going to be Georgia? Is it going to be Alabama? Let's toss a coin to see who wins or who doesn't.
But I think in this sense, they did, in my personal opinion, I think they made the right decision because the SEC as a conference is the best conference in college football. The teams in the SEC are just so much better than everyone else. And everybody's like, well, it's ridiculous to have two SEC teams in the college football playoff. Why? If they are actually legitimately the two best teams in college football, then do it. Alabama and Georgia, those are the two best teams in college football. Not the absolute two best teams, but those are two of the best teams in college football.
Well, the championships don't lie, so it is between those two.
And it was a close game. So who's to say that if Georgia went up against Alabama for a rematch, they wouldn't beat Alabama?
Well, as long as they don't play at home.
As long as they don't play at home. Who's to say that if Alabama went back up against Texas, that they wouldn't beat them again? Or they wouldn't beat them? That's the hard part.
I still think Florida State should have been given the chance. Otherwise, what's the point of this? What's the incentive for playing football?
Sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship,
NIL deals, and a spot in the NFL draft. That's all you're playing for.
Yeah, but what NIL deals are you going to give players when they realize, so I can play my hardest and still win nothing?
Well, you won like $5 million this year.
Fuck the money. It's all about the glory and the prestige.
You know, a similar situation happened several years ago with UCF and the UCF Golden Knights, University of Central Florida, another Florida university, come figure. And they actually crowned themselves the national champions. Even though Alabama won the national championship, and they were like, no, we're the national champions.
Yeah, that was
because we went undefeated. Yeah. So, but that was kind of funny though. And I was behind them for a little while. I was like, you know what? I like these guys. But I knew deep down if they played Alabama, they'd get the ever-living shit beat out of them. And that's what I'm worried about with Florida State. If they played any of these top four teams, they would get the absolute lights beaten off of them.
People said the same thing about us against the Chiefs.
And that didn't happen.
Exactly. So what's to say Florida couldn't beat Alabama? Of course, everybody would blame it. Oh, the refs are against Alabama. What
did I tell you earlier? If Florida State could beat Alabama, I would rip my dick off and eat it.
And that's why they wouldn't do it. That's why they wouldn't do it.
That's how confident I am that it's not a thing that would ever happen.
And if it did happen, I would say, Davis, would you like your dick with salt or without salt?
Maybe in about 10, 15, maybe 20 years, but not right now.
No, they probably shut down the football program.
I don't even think Washington belongs in there, but they're still there.
Because they went undefeated.
Yeah, but they're in the Pac-12.
Who the fuck cares? None of these divisions make any fucking sense. It's all about money, and it's all about the corruption in the NCAA. Deny that.
I'm not going to deny that, no.
There you go. I rest my point. It's corruption. It's blatant disrespect. If I was Florida State, and I'll tell you this, I do not like this governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. I don't like him. I think he's a blithering idiot, but he did say he's trying to allocate $1 million to sue the NCAA. And you know what? I'm fucking behind that because that is some fucking bullshit that they're pulling.
The first thing he's done right.
The first thing.
Well, anyways, are you ready to move on from college football and go on to NFL?
Yeah, but we're still going to be motherfucking. But we're not going to be motherfucking each other because Roger Goodell is trying to ban the push call. Is that what it's called?
The tush push.
Tush push.
Tush push. And basically, for all of our...
Are you sure that's not a Pornhub channel?
It might actually be. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll post to our account later.
Basically, it's 5 big white guys push on Jalen Hurts. I don't know. But anyway, so the tush push is essentially, it's one of the Eagles' most effective plays. I think they said they were like 92 to 97% effective on this play.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good for like goal line or when you're right on the edge of like 4th and inches, it's just a little bit of yardage to get across that line. And essentially, the fullback, the tailbacks, get behind Jalen Hurts when he goes into the pile and they push him forward. I think it's a smart play. And what I'm saying is they spent all offseason perfecting this play. They came up with it. They figured it out. Other teams have been using it, and they haven't been as successful as the Eagles have been because the Eagles have it down to a science. They've perfected it. And Jalen Hurts is so tall and he's long, it's easy for him to be able to fall forward and get that extra few inches. Wait a second.
I think Riley Reid said the same thing.
Probably. But Roger Goodell wants to ban this specific play. And honestly, nobody has given me a good reason as to why.
They say, oh, it's too much like rugby. So what?
Guess where football came from?
Rugby.
You're a new football fan, a brand new football fan, correct?
Yeah.
It hasn't been that long. What kind of football do you like the most? Do you like the rough, tough rumble, run the ball, smack the guy, get in the trenches and dig your feet and plant them in and run? Or do you like the high flying passes, deep passes all the way down the field?
Oh no, Davis, I'm a sophisticated man. I love the just the pussy throws with the pussy tackles and all the flags and all the penalties for just touching a guy wrong,
You must be a Patrick Mahomes fan.
Yeah, exactly. I love that kind of football. What the fuck what kind of question is that? I love just watching a guy get his head completely knocked the fuck off his body. That's what I love.
That's why you like watching hockey, because you like watching the guys fight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love, football. Look, yes, concussions are a thing, but you're getting paid tens of millions of fucking dollars, and it's a football game, all right? What's the one thing you think about when you think about football? You think about men hitting each other as hard as they can. Just what
By the way,
NFL
I've never heard
doing.
of anybody getting hurt on the tush push play. Ever.
Exactly. It's similar to Formula One. Back in 2009, there was a team called Brawn GP, which was created by Ross Brawn. There's a Disney Plus documentary that they released with Keanu Reeves. Pretty good. You should watch it. Essentially, this team had almost no money. They didn't even have an engine deal till a few weeks before the Grand Prix started. And yet they developed a car that completely blew the competition out of the water. The key ingredient was a double diffuser in the back. And all the teams wanted that thing banned immediately. And all the teams tried to reproduce it, but they couldn't. And then Braun won the world championship, and then they banned it. And everybody's like, well, that's fucking stupid. But they try
It's just smart engineering.
Yeah. They try to get rid of this team that came out of nowhere. Took over the Toyota. It was either Toyota or Honda team and just made something out of it. And they didn't like it because they were stepping on their toes. And now you have, and I bet you it's not just Roger Goodell who wants to get rid of this. I bet you the Bills, the Chiefs, all the big teams were just saying, no, this move is complete bullshit. This is not football.
After Sunday's game, I guarantee you Jerry Jones is going to want it to be banned.
Exactly. So this is just Braun GP all over again. But I don't think they should ban it. If they ban it, it's just blatant corruption and it's blatant just favoritism towards the favorite teams, which you know is the Chiefs. If there's nobody else, it's not the Bills. It's not the Cowgirls. It's not whoever the fuck. It's
the Cowgirls are one of them, but yeah. That's why they're called America's team.
Yeah, they garnered that like 20 years ago.
They get to keep that moniker.
Anybody should be America's team. It should have been the Patriots.
You know what? The Cowboys are America's team because they've gone to shit and they're run by an old man that has no idea what he's doing. They're just like America.
Yeah. I mean, both presidencies were run by old men who didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Both of them.
Yeah.
But
it's just bullshit from the NFL and it's bullshit from Roger Goodell. So I hope that the Gruden lawsuit goes further and I hope Roger Goodell feels a fucking burn because that son of a bitch needs to get burned.
Maybe his seat's getting hot and he's trying to, I don't know. Maybe he's just panicking at this point. I don't know. I mean,
it's not going to get more fans to watch football. I'll tell you that.
Oh no,
the opposite.
Nobody really cares if that move. Like the fans don't really care if that move is used or not. The only people that care are the opposing teams. I'm a Raider fan, and I think it's a brilliant play.
Yeah, make something against it.
Yeah, figure something out. Honestly, the best strategy against it is to just try to keep them away from the goal line.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Don't let them get too close to the goal line because that's when they'll do it.
That's when they can do it. But there's got to be something else. And I'm no expert at play calling and all that kind of stuff. But there's got to be some way that you can defend against it and, put your football minds together and figure it out.
Yeah.
That's part of the game. A team develops this new strategy, this new way, and they're really good at it. But then pretty soon somebody develops a way to stop it. And then somebody else develops something, and then you figure out a way to stop it. It's a chain reaction. But Roger Goodell doesn't want this tough, on-the-ground, run-game football.
Why?
Because they feel like that's too old school. That's too old-fashioned. We don't want...
What is it that people keep on saying?
We don't want that old school football.
Yeah, and then everybody else, all the fans are saying, that's what we want. We want people to hit each other. We want to see men be men, not be little girls. That's what they're always saying.
There's a lot of comparisons between football and wrestling nowadays. A lot of people want old school wrestling. They want it to be as good as it used to be, and they want this. But nowadays, it's just like, it's all high flying off the top, doing all these different kind of moves. And in football, it's all these deep passes and all that kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, that style of offense is very fun to watch, but it gets old very fucking quick. And so I feel like you need a balance, not just for viewership or whatever, but to have a good football team, you need a balance of these. You need a tush push, but you also need a 4 verticals, Hail Mary. You need those different kinds of plays. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just stupid. It's kind of like if they, what's that move that the 49ers use? Yeah, the West Coast offense. And it took them, once he perfected it, it took the teams a while to find a way to stop it, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So,
and now a lot of people use the West Coast offense.
Exactly. So what if they would have said back then, we're going to ban that? Why? We're just going to ban it and we don't like that kind of football. What do you think the people would have said back then? Same thing they're saying now. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, but you don't want to piss off 49ers fans. They're different than Philadelphia
Oh,
Eagles.
please. With their credit scores, they couldn't even afford the ammo. They couldn't even afford the Uber to get all the way to the stadium.
Hey, weren't they throwing snowballs at
Oh, yeah.
the opposing team's fans?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
No. Eagles.
The Eagles were. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the Eagles were throwing.
Yeah, the Eagles fans were. Yeah.
And they wonder why they don't like them.
Well, that's why. I don't know. I don't have any room to talk because, back when the Raiders were in Oakland, it wasn't snowballs, it was bullets.
Yeah, but you weren't throwing them.
I wasn't throwing them. I was like 6 years old. But, there was a lot of people shooting them,
Well, it was Oakland.
Yeah, it's Oakland.
I mean, what the fuck did you expect?
But also, it's Philly.
Have you seen the videos of Philly? Just a fucking drug hub.
Yeah, I've seen Rocky. I've seen all the Rocky movies. It looks like a shithole.
And now imagine it now.
You want to know what's even worse? Baltimore. But let's not even get into that. Anyway, let's move on to the lightest, the happiest moment. Let's bring things up for a minute. The proudest moment of this past week. The Chiefs lost to the Packers after an obvious pass interference no call. And I will say this on the air. Yes, it should have been called. But womp, womp. Karma's a bitch, isn't it? How many times has that exact same situation happened to the team that was playing the Chiefs? And then it happens to the Chiefs, and now everybody goes nuts like, oh my gosh, the refs suck. And it's like, we've been saying this for years. For fucking years. And you just now say it.
Every fucking fan says the same thing. The refs are against us. The NFL doesn't want to. FIFA doesn't want us to succeed. The Liga doesn't want us to succeed. The Mercedes is paying off the stewards. It's the same fucking bullshit. Like, sometimes it's a bad call, or it's like a 50-50
And this,
call.
look, and I don't know if you've seen the clip. This really was a bad no call. The guy is...
No, here's the thing. I agree with you. It was a bad call, but at the same time, shut the fuck up, because you don't have any room to say, especially if you're a Chiefs fan.
A lot worse has happened to the Chiefs. I'll just say that.
Yeah, like the Raiders and Brady and the no tuck rule or the tuck fumble or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, the tuck rule game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he later on admitted, yeah, I fumbled it. And I'm like, you piece of shit.
I remember when you sent me that clip, you were like, I fucking knew it, you piece of shit. God damn you. I hope that is sold for soap and boiled for water.
I still think the line is funny. Back when we were covering how Tom Brady bought part of the Raiders. And I was like, well, what's any different? He's owned us for the past 20 years already.
He lives in your head rent free.
He lives in our head rent free. But yeah, I mean, Jordan Love actually balled out. And I've said a lot of shit about Jordan Love.
He kicked our ass.
He kicked our ass. We won that game, but he still did pretty good.
No, here's the funny thing. The Lions and the Chiefs have lost to the fucking Packers.
Could the Packers be the best team?
Fuck off.
But no, I mean...
fuck those cheese-loving sons of bitches.
But everybody started freaking out, and they were like, there's no way that the Packers are going to have 3 back-to-back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And I'm like, let's not get our hopes up about Jordan Love.
Wait. Who's the second Hall of Fame quarterback?
Aaron Rodgers.
What? How?
He's going to go in the Hall of Fame.
How?
He just is.
He went to one Super Bowl. He won one Super Bowl. He's been mediocre ever since.
Yeah, but they're going to...
Is this the WWE? Are we letting everybody in?
For the most part, yeah.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, you got Brett Favre's another piece of work, but at least I think he won.
You can respect his football.
I don't respect him.
Let it go. It wasn't even your car.
He's right down the road. We could go see.
Yeah, and your grandpa still hasn't gotten that money back.
No, but he's dead, so. My grandpa is not Brett Favre. But anyway, I think people are getting a little too ahead of themselves about Jordan Love here, and I don't think we need to get excited about it. It was just one good game. Chiefs historically do not have a great defense. And I will say I commend the Chiefs for doing charity work. I was really impressed by them.
I know. I love the pictures of Taylor Swift that were floating.
No,
online.
not that. Did you see the players?
No, I was looking at Taylor Swift.
So all night they played.
So what's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
Shut up. All night. And I think this was a really classy move. All night they played wide receivers that didn't have any hands. It was incredible.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It's a Christmas miracle. That's just such a classy move that they were born without hands, and the ones that did have hands, they couldn't move them very well.
I bet Tyreek was like,
one kid was in a car wreck and had his hands squished. What are we moving on? Hold on, let me look at my notes real quick.
Hold on, we got to talk about one of the biggest elephants in the room that you're forgetting, and that the Chiefs losing wasn't my favorite part of the week.
I'm looking around in here and I don't see an elephant.
Have you looked at yourself in the mirror?
Oh, there he is. I see him.
No, but on my birthday, on Sunday, the Lions beat the New Orleans Saints.
They sure did.
And they gave
Derek.
they
gave Derek Carr a concussion. Yeah.
I forgot his name. Like literally, I spaced out.
And you want to know a fun fact? I just thought this was interesting. The guy that hit him and gave him the concussion was Bruce Irvin. And Bruce Irvin used to play for us not too long ago, just a few years ago. So I thought that was interesting. Former teammates, and he just fucking clonked him and knocked him out of the game.
Did like when he knocked him down, did he go down and he go, am I still invited for Christmas dinner?
I feel like it's one of those things where they act like they don't know each other anymore.
Probably.
Bruce Irvin left a bad taste in our mouths, but
so did Derek Carr. If you ask 50% of the Raiders fans.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes I did enjoy Derek while he was with the Raiders, and I had a lot of faith in him. But
You had all the faith in him.
I did. I really did.
No one had faith in Derek Carr like you did.
But I started watching him in that game, and I just saw him make all those mistakes, and then I saw him take the hit and get hurt, and I was like, well, I'm glad to know he hasn't really changed at all.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's like
he's the same man. He used to do the same shit with us, but I still love him.
I mean, Carr can't play in the cold. That's the excuse, right?
Even though they were indoors in the Superdome.
Exactly. In fucking New Orleans, Louisiana.
In New Orleans. But anyway, it was a great win for the Lions. It's not.
Oh, don't forget it was just a great win, but Sarah's step cousin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Colby. He's in the
Colby Sorsdahl. Shout out to him.
Yeah, he's a Lions player. He was at home. His family was kind of conflicted because they're Saints fans, but they had to cheer for their boy, and he delivered. They delivered.
They sure did.
So give Colby a thanks for the birthday present.
Oh, I will. Let's go on to one more thing, and I wanted to get your thoughts. On it because this is a very I told you so moment.
For who?
For me. The 49ers.
Oh, God.
Beat.
Oh, God damn it.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
This proves nothing. You know that? This proves absolutely nothing.
What do you mean it doesn't prove anything?
Come February, when we're at the Super Bowl and they win, you can tell me you were right. But until that moment.
I'll wait.
Until that moment, you shut the fuck up about them.
I'm just saying, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, they're all just balling out of it.
Yeah, and like in all seriousness, remember a few weeks ago when Brock Purdy was going through that dry spell, all the Niner fans were just turning on him, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, how the fuck can you one moment be praising him as the next coming of Tom Brady, and then the next moment you're treating him like he's Derek Carr?
Yeah. I don't get that. And now he's balling out, and guess what? They love him again.
Fucking hypocrites.
He's their poster boy. Yeah. As a Raider fan, I can tell you 49ers fans are very hypocritical.
49ers fans? What about Raider fans? What about Chargers fans, Lions fans? They're all
We're
the
all
same.
hypocritical.
Look, I don't understand. This is fucking like weirding me out.
I think the most hypocritical fans are Chiefs fans.
No, Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they take the cake.
They take the cake.
No, but I was seeing comments about the Lions game, and everybody was just shitting on them Because it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the prettiest of wins, but it's a fucking win. And that's been our motto the entire year. It's not a pretty win, but it's a win. So many people are complaining about our players, this and that. Look, there's one thing between criticism and just outright hatred for no reason. I understand if you're criticizing them because they're like, look, you guys shouldn't have let them go in. You guys should have thrown the ball a little bit more, run the ball, stuff like that, where you're like, valid point. But even they turned on them. And then there's fans who are saying that we are Super Bowl material. What's the one thing I told you at the beginning of the year? Be happy that we're winning.
Yeah.
Don't ask for more than what's already there.
We don't have to shoot for a Super Bowl this year. Maybe next year. Maybe the next year.
Exactly. But it's just all these fans. That's what irritates me about fans. They're not smart to things.
Why are all of our favorite fan bases so toxic?
I don't know.
I still believe the 49ers, and I said it a while back, and I'm believing it now. 49ers are the most complete team in the NFL. They're the best team in the NFL. For a while, it was the Eagles, but after that game, I had to change my mind. I think, and this is just me, I think in the NFC, 49ers are the number one team. Number two are the Detroit Lions. Number three are the Eagles. I feel like, and don't let me, I'm just saying.
How the hell
don't look at me like that.
How the hell can you put us at number two? We deserve that number three spot, God damn it.
I'm just saying, after that last game, I don't think it's outrageous to say that the Detroit Lions could beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Didn't we lose to them?
No, you haven't played them.
No, we haven't played? I thought we played them.
You haven't played them, I don't think.
I'll check.
Check.
Nope, we haven't played them.
Yeah, you haven't played them. And you might meet them in the playoffs. We'll see. But that's a game that I would like to see who would win that game. I believe in the Lions.
Oh, you got more faith than I do.
49ers and the Lions is a different story.
We can take him. Just take out the pretty boy.
He's not that pretty. He's purdy. Take out the purdy boy.
There we go. The
not
purdy
pretty,
boy.
purdy.
The purdy boy. No, but speaking of purdy boys, just hang on with me. You're giving me that look. Just hang on. Zach Wilson is going to start this week's game with the Jets after they benched him. And then I think it was last week he said, quite honestly, I don't want to play for them anymore.
Can you blame him?
No. Half the fan, again, going back to the fans, half the fan base says, thank God for Zach Wilson. Half the fans are saying, why?
Yeah.
Oh, and you owe me fucking $50 because I was right about Joe Flacco.
Yeah, you were right about Joe Flacco. He did pretty good in the beginning of that game.
Good maintenance.
They ended up losing, but, it is what it is.
He's a good maintenance quarterback.
Yeah. The unfortunate part is he's on the Browns. I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. As far as Zach Wilson goes, I'm still a little bit iffy on him. I don't know what he's going to be like long term, and I don't really know what other team could really use him because he's...
No, they won.
Who?
The Browns.
Let me see.
Oh, wait, never mind.
I thought they lost to the Rams.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
it wasn't even close.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But Joe was doing pretty good.
Joe Flacco did pretty good.
That's my point. He's not the best quarterback, but he's a good maintenance quarterback. But
he's a good
back
filler.
to what you were saying.
I think he's a more consistent option at quarterback than Deshaun Watson.
Definitely better than Zach Wilson.
More reliable.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more
How
reliable.
many games has Deshaun Watson played in total?
Shit if I know. I just know that he gets hurt every year.
Or he gets suspended every year.
Or that. Hurt or suspended. You know.
He's hurt that he's suspended.
Oh, yeah. But then he's also suspended that he's hurt. That doesn't make any sense. Do you want to go on to Formula One?
That's pretty much it, right?
That's it for NFL. Let's move on to Formula One.
All right.
What do you got? I hear Toto's in trouble.
Oh, boy. Okay, so... Hey, everyone. This is Jason. Right now, I am doing the last editing of the podcast. And while doing that editing, I kind of realized that in our last segment, which was about the FIA investigating Toto and Susie Wolff, I kind of realized that there was some stuff that we kind of didn't report right, and there were some facts that were just not right at all. And so I decided, with the new update to the case coming in today, December 7th, Thursday, I decided, well, might as well cut bait and re-record the last segment. Unfortunately, because it's very late in the night, Davis won't be able to join me for this remake of this part. And so what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to give you the facts of the case, how it started, what happened in between, and then the conclusion that we got today. And then I'm going to share some of the thoughts that me and him talked about in the segment we originally recorded. Now, what's really going on? So on December 5th, Tuesday, a magazine by the name of F1 Business released an article stating that the FIA was investigating a team principal and a member of FOM, which is the Formula One management, and they were being investigated because they were trading secrets, or specifically the FOM member was giving this team principal information that he shouldn't have. Well, almost immediately, Toto Wolff and Susie Wolff decided to come out with statements saying this is false, this is a false accusation, this is misogynistic, this is just bullshit, blah, 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 blah. And immediately the world realized, oh, this is Mercedes that's being investigated. But then the Formula One group, specifically Liberty Media, came out and said, what investigation? Well, it turns out, because the FIA announced the investigation, they're like, yeah, we found some evidence that might suggest that there's collusion going on and that there's a conflict of interest. And Formula One, the group, was pissed because they were not aware of this. Any sort of investigation has to be kind of almost approved by both groups. And they were completely blindsided by this. And so a lot of people were saying, well, you know, what did you expect? Susie is in Formula One as a management position, and Toto's a team principal at Mercedes. Of course, there were going to be conflict of interest and all this stuff. But in the original segment, me and Davis had actually talked about it, and we were like, well, what would Susie actually know that would be a benefit for Toto and Mercedes? Because one of the big things is, well, Susie is part of management for Formula One, but it's more like she's management because Formula One decided to create a feeder series. She's in charge of the Formula One Academy, which is a feeder series, which is essentially kind of like training grounds. It's like Formula 3 and Formula 2. Except that this specific series is just for women. No guys involved. And it's basically just to give girls the chance to race in Formula One, because there's a small pool of women who are into motor racing compared to the men. And because there's this thing called money that plagues everybody who wants to do motor racing, there's a lot of women with talent that unfortunately don't have the opportunity to race in Formula 4, Formula 3, because they cannot afford it, because it is way too freaking expensive per year. So the F1 Academy is trying to close that gap for the women and give them an opportunity at being seen by the Formula 3, Formula 2, and Formula 1 teams, so that they may get a shot at racing for some of those teams later on in the future. And Susie Wolff is the head honcho of that feeder series. So she's in charge of, I'm guessing, kind of coming up with the races, the formats, getting the people and all that stuff. And I was telling Davis, well, how would she know anything that's important? Because maybe she can tell Toto, hey, you know, there's these girls who are really good and this is what the other teams are offering, and which I guess might happen, but I highly doubt it, because that just stays between the teams and the driver. So there's that question again of, well, what would she know? I don't think she knows anything, because I think that the head honchos at Formula One, they're not inviting her to the big meetings where you're discussing regulation, or they're discussing, okay, this is how much each team spent on the cost cap, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that she's involved in any of that stuff. I think she's just being brought into meetings where they're talking about the commercial license, and then they're asking her, okay, so this is what we're thinking of doing, and yada, yada, yada. What do you think? So that's what I think she might be able to tell Toto, but at the end of the day, that's kind of like information that everybody would know as soon as the meeting's over. But you know how the fans and media are, and this kind of spread, and they were just people calling them cheaters and stuff like that. And of course, people were saying, oh, you know, this was Red Bull's doing. They tipped off the FIA, and that's why there's this investigation going on. And then on Wednesday, every single team except Mercedes, you know, the team being investigated, they kind of said, yeah, we were releasing this statement saying that, no, we did not, in fact, inform the FIA of anything, and nor do we believe anything is going on between the two parties. And now everybody's like, well, okay, so who said it? And an article by motorsports.com came out today, and it's just talking about how somebody kind of realized that Toto said something that it was information that he shouldn't have known otherwise, except for members of FOM. And so they're like, well, what else does he know? Let's investigate him. But today, Thursday, December the 7th, the FIA announced that there was a conclusion to the whole case. And in fact, neither party are guilty of anything. And that's that. And a lot of people are now still saying, well, who tipped them off? You know, was it Red Bull? It had to be Red. You know, they said, yeah, we didn't do it, but we did it. And I think it's just a load of hogwash. It's just, I think just somebody in the media kind of said, hey, were they supposed to know this? Or like somebody in FOM said, how does Toto know that? But I'm guessing, okay, maybe it was some information he shouldn't have known, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's information that they're thinking, oh, well, this is worthy enough to punish him and all that stuff, because this is big information. I highly doubt it. But that is the update on Toto Wolff and Susie Wolff and the whole debacle on them. Now, let's go back to the ending of the original recording. Oh, wait, sorry, hold up. Now we got some breaking news that, well, it's not breaking news, but it's news that Davis just sent me. I didn't realize and didn't mention in the original recording. But this is a statement by Jeremy Clarkson of the famous Grand Tour and Top Gear. He says, quote, I have reviewed cars on TV since 1989, Clarkson stated. That's 34 years, and after next year, I won't be doing that anymore. The trio will depart the Grand Tour after their next two films air on Prime Video. That is sad, but they have been getting older, and the injuries they have been getting have been more and more frequent. There was that nasty little shunt that James May had, I think in the winter special they had. I can't remember the name of it, but he did suffer a bit of an injury. I think he broke his arm or his leg or something like that. But after so many years of them giving us, you know, a lot of joy, it's coming to an end. So that's pretty sad. But this time for real, let's go back to the original recordings ending. But that was the Formula One news. That was the podcast in general. So we've run for about an hour and 10 minutes. So sign us off, white boy.
Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the WaterBoy Experience. You can follow us on Twitter at the WaterBoy Pod or on TikTok at the WaterBoy Pod. By the way, send me some clips of the episode so I can get those going. We'll do that. Probably, I would like to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
Content coming very soon. Thank you guys again for listening to this episode of the WaterBoy Experience. And peace.
Second and goal just outside the 10. Carr tips it in and it's Wolff. He spins into the end zone for the touchdown. Watching greatness on one end in LeBron.